Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Paul, I'm with the Dicey Review, and tonight we're going to be learning how to play the Japanese Islands expansion for Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North, released by Portal Games. The Japanese Islands expansion comes with all of the components that you see here, including 8 nearby island cards, 6 distant island cards, the 33 cards for the Socorro Clan, the 33 cards for the Umineko Clan, and then 4 clan ship tokens and clan score markers to go with each new clan. To incorporate the expansion into the base game, begin by shuffling the new island cards into their respective decks. After this has been done for the nearby and the distant islands, you can then look to the new clans. To incorporate these new clan decks into the game, players can simply choose one to play with. Now that we've looked at incorporating this expansion to the base game, let's look at each individual clan in more detail, beginning with the Socorro Clan. The Socorro Clan try and focus on making deals. They're experts at negotiation, and they can open their buildings to their neighbors, or trade resources for favors. There are some cards that will allow you to use your opponent's cards. It's important to note that when you're interacting with opponents' buildings, you're not able to use cards that utilize card types that aren't in your deck. For instance, with the Ice Walls, the Socorro Clan doesn't have this card type in their deck. You also can't interact with cards that have storage or assign effects. You also have cards that allow you to exchange resources with your opponent. In the case of these cards, you choose the type of resource that you're going to be giving your opponent, and then a different type of resource that you can take from their pool. You can never exchange resources of the same type. So for instance, in the example of this card, you could exchange this stone and receive a wood in return, or any other combination of different resources. There are also cards that allow you to give resources to your opponent. When doing this, the resource has to come from your supply, and it goes to your opponent's supply. Next, we want to look at the Umineko Clan. The Umineko Clan love to focus on working around ports. They manage the transfer of goods from faraway lands. They trade through many different channels, and utilize warehouses, always waiting for the right moment to make the best deals. If playing with the Umineko Clan, a player will play with an expanded phase order. After the lookout phase, the Umineko Clan completes the storage phase and then the docking phase. Let's look first at the storage phase. During the storage phase, players will resolve the text on any cards that say storage. So for instance, one of this clan's basic buildings is the Imperial Port, that says, during the storage phase, if there are 3 goods on this card, discard 1 of the assigned goods. So for instance, if these 3 resources were on the card, they would have to choose 1 to discard. The trade company states that if there are 3 goods on this card, you can discard any 3 assigned goods, and then gain 3 points and 1 resource of your choice. And it's important to note if there are enough resources on any storage card to resolve the effect more than once, you would resolve the effect that many times, fully resolving each action before beginning the next resolution. So for instance, if these 6 goods were on this card requiring 3 goods, you would first remove 3 of the goods, gain the 3 points and a resource, and then repeat that action again. Directly after the storage phase, the Umineko player will complete the docking phase. Each card with one of these dock symbols has docking text printed on the card. Each card, one after the other, will resolve its docking effect during the docking phase. When completing this step, players will look at the text next to the docking keyword to find out if this card docks with nearby or distant islands. This card, for instance, docks with distant islands. When completing the docking step, the card will gain resources that are in the leftmost space of the Pillage to Gain window for the appropriate island distance. So for instance, since this card docks with distant islands, you would place an apple and a log on this card to complete that step. These 2 cards dock with nearby islands. When looking at the leftmost good in the Pillage to Gain window of the nearby islands, these are fish and sheep. So to complete this docking step for these 2 cards, the player would store 1 sheep and 1 fish on each card. It's important to note if there are victory point symbols instead of goods in the leftmost space, the player will simply gain a point instead of gaining any goods. It's also important to note that there are some cards that will allow you to complete docking during the action phase. It's possible that opponents have used card effects and removed islands from the expedition board. If that's happened, the player only resolves docking for any islands on the board, if any. And finally, there are some cards that allow you to transport goods. For instance, this card allows you to take an action to transport one good from this port to any storage building with this symbol. Whenever you transport goods, take any of the goods assigned to your card and move it to the card of your choice. This good is now assigned to the new card. Alright everyone, that was our video. We hope that it was helpful and we hope that it was informative. If you still have any questions about how to play the game, please comment below or email us directly at thedicey@gmail.com. If you want to read any of our written reviews, you can visit thedicey.review.com and make sure and connect with us on social media or by visiting our Board Game Geek Guild. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.